don't really know what gluten is. I think it's like in corn, or maybe it's in bread. I hear about it all the time, but I don't know what it is.
Isn't it similar to flour that you put in food when you bake stuff?
I found that I felt a lot better when I was avoiding it.
Based off of people's reactions to it, that it can't be something that's wonderful.
Well, at least I'm not the only one confused by gluten. Many people have already cut it from their diet. Should I do the same? First of all, what is gluten?
Gluten is a protein in wheat, rye, and barley, and sometimes oats. If you make a pizza or a pie and you're rolling out the dough, the protein is what makes the dough stick together.
This protein is found in most whole grains, and our bodies rely on whole grains for fuel and energy. So why is this protein getting such a bad rap?
Gluten harms 3 different types of people.
Most severely, it harms people with celiac disease. Celiac disease is a hereditary autoimmune disease. It affects less than 1% of the population.
If you think about your fingers being like the villi in your small intestine, what happens with celiac disease is it flattens these. And as a result, you cannot absorb the nutrients in your food.
It also harms non-celiac gluten-sensitive people. These folks experience the same uncomfortable symptoms as those with celiac, like gas, diarrhea, constipation, bloating, and abdominal pain. But the villi in their intestine do not become flattened.
Category number 3 are people who have a true allergy, which is a different response from the immune system when they eat wheat or gluten.
Their bodies produce an allergic reaction, which could be anything from hives and rashes to not being able to breathe. Since there are more than 300 known symptoms of gluten sensitivity, it can be confusing deciding if your gas is normal or a sign of one of these more serious conditions. People with genuine gluten intolerance have to pay close attention to what they eat.
Gluten is in many different foods, especially unexpected ones. It's in pasta, of course. It's in anything that's breaded.
The point is, a lot of foods contain gluten. And for the people that can't eat it, it is hard to ensure their diet does not include it. So why would a gluten-tolerant person attempt to adopt a diet that is a treatment for a disease?
Well, there is a fad element to gluten-free for sure. And I think part of it is this misconception that gluten-free is healthier for everyone.
By seeing more gluten-free labels in stores, people wonder if they should be purchasing them. Also, magazines headlining celebrities who claim becoming gluten-free made them healthier and thinner line our checkout aisles.
So people read about that and they think, well, if so-and-so is doing this, then it probably is appropriate for me, and that's not necessarily the case.
And most gluten-free processed foods are even worse for us than the processed foods containing gluten.
Essentially, what they do to make up for the lack of flavor or taste that would normally be in the gluten-filled food, they just add a lot of sugar, they add more fat, they add more salt, and typically they add a lot more starch.
If these pricey gluten-free products are actually unhealthy, why do so many people claim they feel amazing after giving up gluten?
Well, it's an interesting conundrum that the average person does see benefits, and it's probably because they're not eating baked goods anymore. Instead, they're eating more fresh vegetables, more fresh fruit. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's because they eliminated the gluten and the gluten's the bad thing.
By replacing less nutritious foods with healthier ones, you will naturally feel better.
We've got a lot of fiber and good things in grains that some people need.
And many products that are made from grains are fortified with vitamins, and giving up those foods could lead to vitamin deficiency.
So I would never go as far to say that everyone should be off of gluten.
Overall, gluten's not the bad guy the media makes it out to be. It has an important place in our diet, the place that ensures our bodies have the energy they need to function properly. If we want to gain control of our health, it is much more important to be mindful when we eat, to think about the foods we put into our body, and to only eat the foods we know are unhealthy in moderation. As for me, I'm not becoming gluten-free, and if you're not sensitive to gluten, maybe you shouldn't either.